And how do I start with no knowledge? At a very young age, I learned how to learn.
Mm,
And so I can learn not to pass the test, but I can learn anything by application, to learn something in order to be able to apply, not just to read something and parrot it, like what most people do, but
right.
to actually understand it.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am Justin Nimergood, your host of the Real Estate Rockstars Podcast. I'm so excited for the guest that we have on today, Mr. Gal Ezra. Today's guest is driven by a mission to help people build wealth with purpose, discipline, and ethical leadership. Gal Ezra is an entrepreneur, investor, speaker, and business mentor who's built and scaled multiple multi-million dollar companies across events, property, and finance. Born in Cape Town and now based in Tampa, Florida, and South Africa, Gail's journey includes founding and selling several businesses, co-creating large-scale events and festivals serving tens of thousands annually, and stepping into the role of CEO of Empower Funding, a property finance company funding millions, despite entering the industry with no formal finance background. Gail is also an active real estate investor with interests in Airbnb properties, short-term accommodations, and boutique hospitality projects, including hotels currently operating and under development. His approach centers on systems, mindset, and execution, showing how knowledge, automation, and personal discipline can outperform experience alone. In addition to investing and operating businesses, Gail coaches and trains entrepreneurs through online programs, one-on-one mentorship, live events, and speaking engagements. He also co-hosts multiple podcasts focused on business, relationships, and property investing. Their practical frameworks on performance, mindset, spirituality in business, and sustainable success. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Gal Ezra to the show. Welcome, Gal.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on. What a beautiful introduction. I appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome, sir. I know
Thank you.
we've been, this has been many months in the making, folks.
Yeah.
We tried to have him on previously and we had some scheduling difficulties and
Yeah.
long story short, we made it happen. We're now
We
here.
did it. Yes,
We're
we're done.
here. The day has finally come. Now,
Yes.
Gail, I found one of the most interesting things about your bio, right, is you have done so without any real formal, being obviously coming into the role as CEO. We'll just start with Empower Funding for a second.
Yeah.
With no formal finance background, how
Yeah.
are you able to come into such a role? I mean, obviously you got the experience, but you know, yeah, could you just share a little bit about kind of coming into that role and how that came about?
Yeah, I started the business, and basically what happened was that I just saw that there was an opportunity. In fact, what happened was my father was coaching another company in South Africa, a real estate agency, and they told him that they do some bridging finance, and he said, "What do you mean? Explain to me." And then they explained to him, "No, it's a way that whenever our commissions." So just to give you a bit of background on your listeners, in South Africa, when a property gets sold, it takes about 3 months for everyone to get paid out. Okay.
Whoa,
Whereas everywhere, I mean, in the US, it's instant, right? Or
it's
at 12 months.
instantly the day of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here you sign, everyone's ready. You have a buyer, the bank is ready to pay out. Everyone waits for 3 months. It's because paperwork and they're just South African slow. And it is what it is. And so during that period, the seller doesn't get their money, and they obviously wanted the money. That's why they were selling the property in the first place. There was a reason that they needed access to funds, and the agent waits on their commission. So they said, "Look, we're doing bridging," and he said, "Oh wow," and their rates are very high, and yeah, their rates are high. So okay, we can do the same thing at a better rate. And so at that time, I had grown my festival business. It was really doing well. And at the beginning, when you build a business, it takes many years of work, right? And eventually to a point where you can pop out of it a little bit. The festival business was running well, and I was looking for what's next. Not what's next. I mean, the business continued running, but what I can do in addition. I didn't want to just sit on my hands. And so the next thing was, okay, let's do this. So I started this finance business, of doing the bridging finance at the most affordable rate in the country, improving on what we could with every other aspect of the business. And how do I start with no knowledge? Because at a very young age, I learned how to learn.
Mm,
And so I can learn not to pass the test, but I can learn anything by application, to learn something in order to be able to apply, not just to read something and parrot it, like what most people do, but
right.
to actually understand it. And that's what I had as a background ability. And there's three main barriers to learning. And if you don't know those three barriers, doesn't matter what you try to learn, you'll run up against them, and it will cause you to essentially not be able to comprehend. Now, I know we're limited on time, but just to answer the question, by using that, I learned. I just learned and said, I know.
I am curious now. What are those three barriers? I'm sure our listeners are curious too.
Yeah. I'll tell you the most important one. Okay. And the most important one might seem too simple, but it's everything. And the most important one, the other two are very important, don't get me wrong, but this thing is the senior factor. The biggest barrier to learning, okay? And you'll notice that have you ever read a page and you got to the bottom of the page and you didn't remember anything you read?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. Now, oh yeah, or you start reading something you're interested in and you find yourself daydreaming.
Yeah.
Or you try to learn something and you just cannot comprehend it. You know that the author was probably knew what he was writing about, but you cannot understand what exactly he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for all of those things is one reason, and it's too simple. But the reason is that there was a word or symbol that you passed that you didn't fully understand. Now, it sounds too simple. It's just a word. Yes, if you read a page and you got to the end of it and you didn't remember what you read, it wasn't due to anything other than you passed a word you didn't understand. If you tried to start studying something and you decided to leave, it's due to a word or symbol that you didn't fully understand. It's all the understanding of the words. Now, this is a huge topic. I could give you a 7-day seminar about words and symbols and how you actually make sure to spot them and understand them, etc. But if you are aware of the fact that you must insist on using a dictionary, look up the words, you will be able to study anything and never, ever pass a word you don't understand. Most people, when doing business, go past many things they don't understand, and it destroys them. They will go read a contract on a property deal, and they don't understand some of the Latin in there. They don't understand some of the terminology, and they think probably the lawyers who wrote it were smarter than me, and I'm probably stupid, and I just don't know what this means. And fine, let me sign it. It can be the worst thing. It's not true. You just need to look up the words. It's true for managing a deal before you invest. True for any studying. It's true for any pursuit. And if you don't do it, good luck. You'll be and act stupid in that area. And so that's the first major barrier, is passing a word or symbol you don't understand. It will destroy any potential you had of gaining the fruits of the results in that area.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's incredible. An incredible breakdown. And I've never heard it put that way. I mean, you always hear, oh, well, maybe you're ADHD, you can't focus, you can't, but it's like, it makes a lot of sense. If you found a word that you didn't understand, your brain, your brain is a protection mechanism in a lot of ways, right? So your brain was probably trying to protect you, like, oh, you don't understand. So we're just going to move through it. But in
Yeah.
reality, to your point, you need to go back to it, and you need to figure it out, right?
Yeah. You don't have ADHD. It's not true. And not you, I'm saying whoever's listening. We work with many people that say they have ADHD. I'm sorry to tell you, I know you like that. I know you like your label, but you don't. Your ADHD is a symptom. You have the symptoms of ADHD. Can't concentrate. You have those things. That's very real. You have those problems, but it's not the label. Because if it was the label and that was really the source of your problem, then guess what? It wouldn't be a problem anymore. Because when you find the source for a problem, it goes away. So if you've been saying for many years, I have ADHD and that's why I can't learn, it's not the source of your problem. Yes, you have the symptoms of lack of concentration or hyperfocus or whatever you have, but that's not your problem. You have nothing wrong with your brain. You don't have a chemical imbalance. It's never been proven anywhere. And under the face of the earth, there's no conclusive test that such a thing as a chemical imbalance exists or that it's connected at all to your mental health. And what we do, by the way, when I work with somebody on our coaching side, is we take many people who say they have ADHD. And yes, again, they have those problems, but we actually find the source and we handle it. And one of the biggest reasons for the symptoms of ADHD is it's too simple. I know it sounds too simple. It's that you've passed words or symbols you simply didn't understand. And because you didn't understand, it popped you out of the subject. You had a lapse in understanding. And as a result, you weren't able to comprehend and all the other problems that come with it.
Wow, that's some powerful stuff, y'all. If you aren't taking notes right now, he's dropping some knowledge here. Now, let's shift gears for a second. What is probably the project right now that you're working on that you're the most proud of, or you're most, even, let's say, the most excited about that you're working on right now?
Yeah. So right now we're adding a whole section to our finance offering, which is, by the way, sorry if you hear some crying, my daughter's in the background. I don't know if you hear the baby crying, but basically, first of all, that's my daughter is probably the number one project that we have. That's actually very fitting. But we're adding something to our finance offering where we're doing asset-backed loan. So somebody who owns a property and they have equity in the property, we can come in, especially even when the banks say no, and we have a structure that we've put in place where we can basically take a mortgage on the property and lend you funds against it. And we do it in a kind of a unique structure, and we do it for property and luxury vehicles. And so we've started in that world. So it's beyond just the bridging finance where you've sold a property and you're waiting for 3 months. Now we've added that on. So it's been an interesting journey putting that all together. But we're doing that out of South Africa. We're doing it in the US. We're doing it in Dubai, and starting to run those types of structures, which is that's exciting and probably the relevant one for this podcast. I mean, I also really am passionate about helping people, as you know, and as we slightly touched upon that, we do the coaching business, and my mission there is to create 10,000 ethical millionaires, and that's also a huge excitement for me every day.
Ethical millionaires, I'm assuming just meaning that their business is an ethical business.
And actually a little bit different. A lot of people do assume that. They think, oh, it's a business that is like sustainable, but that's not what I mean. What I mean by ethical millionaires is that what you are aiming to do in life is to survive. The common denominator of all life is survival. Okay, from the blade of grass to a human being to an animal in the Serengeti. Okay, you want to survive. Now, the survival can be broken down into 8 parts. If you look, you want to survive in 8 ways. You want to survive as yourself, as an individual, right? Your hobbies, your passion. You want to survive through your family. You want to survive through the groups that you're a part of. You want to survive through mankind. You want to survive through life forms, plants and animals. Without the trees, we wouldn't be able to survive. Without the animals, we wouldn't be able to survive. You want to survive through the physical world around you. You want to survive through spirituality, and you want to survive through the supreme being, whatever that might mean for you. Okay. If you really look, life is composed of those 8 parts. Now, doing the right thing what does that mean? And I'm giving you something very quick because we have a very short time. I'm giving you like a condensed version. If you want to do the right thing, what you're doing is you're doing what's best for a majority of those 8 parts. Okay. It might not be perfect, but if you have a cure that kills 1 person, but saves 1 million, it's the right thing to do. So what we're doing is the word ethics means that you're acting based on the viewpoint of what's the best thing, the greatest good for those 8 parts of life. So when I say ethical millionaire, I mean a millionaire who does the right actions, who succeeds across all parts of those 8, to the majority of those 8, and actually brings about results for really every part of their life. That's what I mean by an ethical millionaire.
Okay. Yeah, definitely much more involved than I had, I guess, envisioned when I heard ethical. And you never know, because like obviously Africa. We know Africa is a big mining area for diamonds, right? So we always hear about like ethically mined, diamonds or
Right.
source diamonds and
That's right.
everything. So
Yeah.
very interesting. What is probably the most interesting or different uh business principle that you found? And I know we've talked about one of them, which is like the length of the time between a transaction closing and you getting paid out. But what's maybe one other thing that you notice is like completely different, about business in South Africa versus the US?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it depends on what business. Okay. On the one hand, Cape Town is called the mother city. Okay. Because it's just the main, city of South Africa. So it's like the mother city. But the joke is that it's called the mother city because it takes 9 months for anything to happen. So it's, but, so sometimes things can be slow, but actually jokes aside, things can also move really well and really fast there. It really depends on what area um, we're talking about. But in my space, yeah, the biggest thing that's really unique in terms of the property industry is I'd say the um, that waiting period. That's a big one. There's also big differences, I think, in how much goes into like property inspections, and I think it's much more thorough in the U.S. And I think in Cape Town it's a little bit more relaxed. We can say the way they build is different than the U.S. The U.S. is super like wood and drywall oriented. In South Africa, it's much more brick and mortar type thing. Um, so there's some differences in like the construction approaches and the how thorough they review your how what's the word I'm looking for? The legalities, let's just say, around it. It's not that things are like falling apart that are bad, but it's just not. The U.S. is like extremely strict with like home inspections and things like that. Um, so yeah, there's those little bits of differences, but
Yeah.
overall, Cape Town and South Africa in general is very first world in its approach. Many things are better than other parts of the world. Like our online banking systems and the way funds move is actually much more efficient than some other parts of the world. So there's a lot of pros as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that don't know, Cape Town, arguably one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Kind of it's mountainous, and then you also have the beaches as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah. You can be on the beach on the top of a mountain and sitting at a wine farm in the same for 6 hours, let's say.
So
Yeah. Same day. The same day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. Now, we're going to pivot into kind of our final segment of the show where I'm going to ask you a couple zingers. Let's have some fun with them.
Okay.
There is no right or wrong answer, by the way. I meant to
Okay.
like harp on with it. Just answer it from your heart. There's no right or wrong. So let's take a look. Here's the first one. Now, imagine, Gal, it's your last day on Earth, and you can only carry 3 items in your time capsule. What are those items and why?
Oh, preserve them. Probably some kind of a hard drive. I have a hard drive of some kind. My daughter has joined us here,
Hi, daughter.
working from home
Yes,
here.
beauty.
She's the best. She's the best, and it looks like she's doing some help and clean. She's giving you this bump. There we go. Okay. So probably a hard drive with some good old memories. What would I preserve? Honestly, anything that's majorly physical, I wouldn't really need to even physically preserve. I wouldn't mind. Maybe I would preserve. I don't actually know. I don't have anything specific I'd preserve when it comes to the physical. I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't want anything to like sort of carry on for like, future legacies, future generations, basically.
The main thing for me that I'd want, the reason I say hard drive is because on there I'd have any knowledge that I've written or produced or gained that can help. and maybe some photos and memories so people can look back at how good looking I was. But other than that, who cares? No, from the physical side, I'd be curious what other people answer. But from the physical, I don't have any like major thing that I'd be like attached to.
You kind of said something that a lot of people say, which is memories, pictures. I get that answer a lot. Memories, pictures. Some people would say their wedding ring. Usually always something tied to, no matter who I ask this question, it's something tied to your family though. Your family, your memories, your passion, your work, like always
Yeah.
same answers.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, the most important thing would be to pass on knowledge that I've gained that can help. That's the main thing for me. The family will benefit from that tremendously. Like it would be horrible for me if my daughter didn't have the fruits of what I've gained from my own life to utilize in hers. That's the main thing. Even the memories and the photos, I've lived before and I'll live again. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There you have it. All right. So here's the second one. This one's a little bit easier, but what is your definition of a real estate rock star?
Ooh, it's somebody who really understands the angles and every viewpoint around property. So they look at every risk, every reward, every opportunity, and they really understand each and every viewpoint and are willing to look at it. Doesn't mean they have to agree with it, but they're willing to look at it. And they can act with total confidence in any transaction while being thoroughly willing to have every other viewpoint involved in that transaction, meaning they act with certainty, but yet they're aware of everything else going on around them. And as a result, they see the full picture. Yeah.
Wow. There you have it, folks. Absolute masterclass here by Mr. Gal Ezra today. Gail, I want to make sure we give our listeners and our subscribers out there an opportunity to connect with you. I mean, that's a big part of why we have amazing guests like yourself on. What's the best way for people to do that?
Sure. So me personally, you go to Gal Ezra, Galaezra. Or if you want to learn more about what we're doing, you can go to our website, empowerfunding.co.za. That's the bridging finance. Or if you want to learn more about the business and coaching and personal development side, it's gprosperity.com. G stands for guaranteed. Everything that we do, we have a guarantee behind it, not just money back. We say, if you paid for something and it wasn't everything that you wanted and more, we don't just give you your money back. We give you your money back plus 10% for wasting your time.
So give them an interest.
Interest plus interest, 100%, because you put in your time, your money, and it didn't bring you results. So everything we do is money back guaranteed because you bring results. So it's called Guarantee Prosperity. The website is gprosperity.com.
There you go. There you have it, folks. Make sure you connect with Gal out on his various social medias, those websites. He is a wealth of knowledge, and obviously being an international business professional like himself, he knows the international market, right? He's constantly and actively working in both the U.S. and obviously South Africa. So he is very well versed in international business as well.
Yeah.
There you have it with another wonderful guest here on the Real Estate Rockstars Podcast. I am Justin Nimergood, your host. We'll be here at same time, same place next week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.